Good morning, everyone. It's 10:05 a.m. and I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Board of Directors on Friday, April 25th, 2025. Please note this meeting is being recorded. Thanks to everyone joining us today in person and through our audio option. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Thank you and good morning, everyone. Starting with Director Devlin.
Here.
Engardio. Absent. Garbarino.
Here.
Giudice. Absent. Hardeman. Director Hardeman.
Right here.
Thank you. Hernandez.
Here.
Maston. Moulton Peters is absent. Parr.
Present.
Parrish.
Here.
Verdoni. Absent. Sauter is absent. Snyder.
Here.
Thier.
Here.
Second Vice President Rabbit is absent. First Vice President Hill.
Here.
And President Cochran.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you. As a reminder, please be sure to turn on your mic when we open up for director's discussion so everyone can hear. Please raise your hand and the secretary and I will call on you accordingly. If we miss your raised hand, please speak up. Following any discussion, we will take the appropriate vote. Please follow along by referring to page numbers located at the bottom right-hand corner of your meeting packet. Director Devlin, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, please continue with the next item on the agenda.
Thank you. We're going to move on to public comment. We have one speaker card, unless there's somebody else. I believe in the audience who might want to speak. If you haven't filled out a speaker card, you can raise your hand and let me know you'd like to speak today. But we'll start with Mr. Rohde. Dave Rohde, can you please approach us at the end of the table? Good morning, Mr. Rohde.
Good morning. My name is Dave Rohde. I'm the San Francisco Policy Co-Chair for the Climate Reality Project. You may have heard that Vice President Al Gore was in town this week. He was here at the urging of the Bay Area chapter of the Climate Reality Project to be the keynote speaker for Climate Week. It is abundantly clear, he said, that the Trump administration is doing everything it possibly can to halt the transition to a clean energy future. 2 weeks earlier, Lee Zeldin, Trump's pick to head the EPA, said in response to a protest I attended in front of San Francisco's EPA headquarters, "Our goal is to drive a stake through the heart of the climate change religion." So that's where we stand, facing an administration hell-bent on doing everything it can to undo what we've accomplished in reducing greenhouse gas emissions. My question for you today is, where do you stand? In 2019, this board passed a climate emergency resolution. Last year, you passed a strategic plan initiative that calls for a long-term energy plan with implementation timeline goals for green transportation options for bridge, bus, and ferry operations. In the petition I delivered to this board last month, thousands of Bay Area citizens said they will not rest until the Golden Gate Bridge District makes a commitment to developing a plan for electric ferries. We know you can't do it immediately. We're agreeing with your strategic initiative that calls for a long-term clean energy plan with an implementation timeline. So what's so hard about that? We're simply asking that you start laying out a strategy that will lead to electric ferries in the near future. I'm not clear which of the board committees this motion should originate from or exactly what it should say. Should it be a directive to Michael Hoffman, your ferry division manager, to begin working on this strategy? Or should it direct the hiring of a sustainability director tasked with an electric ferry strategy as part of his or her job? All it takes is for someone to make a motion to develop the strategy that will lead to electric ferries, someone to second it, and a few more of you to vote for it. Who wants to step up? I want to thank Amaret Ko-Wong for her work to include our electric ferry petition in the March board packet, and to Paolo Koselich-Schwartz for posting and updating it on the district website. Climate Reality and the 19 other climate action groups will continue to promote this petition to the public until you adopt an electric ferry strategy. I reiterate what Al Gore said during his Climate Week speech. If you doubt for 1 minute that human beings have the capacity to muster sufficient political will to solve this energy crisis, just remember that political will is itself a renewable resource. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Rohde. We have no other speakers in the room, I believe. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Justine on the public line to see if she's got any speakers on the public line. Justine, can you take it from here?
Absolutely. Good morning. I would like to poll again. When we first started the meeting, I had no speakers. If you don't mind, I'd like to poll now.
Sure.
Thank you. If there's anyone that's joined us that would like to speak at the board meeting this morning, please use ** to unmute yourself and let me know. Again, press ** on your device to unmute yourself and let me know. I am not hearing any speakers this morning.
Thanks, Justine.
Okay, thank you, David, for your comments. This concludes the public comments for items on today's agenda. We're going to move on to item number 5 to approve the consent agenda. Before we take our vote, are there any questions from board members on the consent agenda? May I have a motion on this item?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? The records show there is no opposition and the motion passes. Moving on to item number 6A, the report of our general manager. Dennis, please.
Thank you, President Cochran, members of the board, members of the public and staff. My written report is before you. I would like to start off by asking that the board ratify an action I took pursuant to state law for an emergency. I would ask that you ratify the award of a construction contract with Power Engineering, Inc. in the amount of $2,132,321 to repair the boarding ramps at berths 1 and 2 at the Larkspur Ferry Terminal. As background, our Larkspur Ferry Terminal has been in business for over 50 years, and to repair the ramps, there's certain items that our staff can do, but when there's some catastrophic issues, it requires a contractor to come in with the barge and a crane to lift up those ramps and perform work. Larkspur is our primary location for berthing, maintaining, and fueling all of our ferry vessels. So berths 1 and 2 are the primary passenger boarding platforms at the Larkspur Ferry Terminal. They provide the most efficient way for passengers to embark and disembark from our vessels. In accordance with Public Contract Code Section 22050 in the district's procurement policy, I'm granted authority to waive the competitive solicitation process and to approve the procurement of necessary equipment, services, and supplies in the event of an emergency when immediate action is required to prevent the interruption or cessation of necessary district services. Having the ramps function at the Larkspur Ferry Terminal are necessary for the operation of our ferry service. So our engineering staff, when we encountered a problem there, worked with ferry staff, and our engineering staff developed a solicitation package, somewhat less than a normal full bid package, but they marked out record drawings, and they solicited quotes from two contractors that we've worked with in the past, Valentine Engineering and Power Engineering. The bids were close. The low bid was awarded to Power Engineering, and I'm asking that you ratify that action that I took. So that will require a motion.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there any questions on the motion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none. Let the record show there is no opposition and the motion passes. Okay, Dennis?
Thank you. Just a brief update on travel in the corridor. While travel in the corridor is well below pre-pandemic levels for bridge, bus, and ferry, it does continue to slowly trend upward, which is very encouraging. In March, southbound bridge traffic was 1% at March 2024. Bus ridership was 4% above March of 2024, and ferry ridership was 14% above March 2024. So we continue to add back bus and ferry service incrementally as we see a return of customers traveling the corridor. But there is still today very little commute traffic going into the city. The bridge is down 25 to 30% between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. on weekdays. Tolls are our principal source of funding, so obviously we're being very prudent with our resources. Last month, I briefed you verbally because we had some late-breaking news with respect to White House executive orders. So I updated it in my report before you as I reported last month, and it's now in writing, so it'll disappear next month. Our $400 million federal discretionary grant as part of the Federal Highways Bridge Investment Program was unfrozen about a month ago, and our 2 variable discretionary grants were also unfrozen. Subsequent to our meeting last month, one bit of good news is the next item in my report, and that's the Federal Transit Administration grants. On March 31st, the U.S. Department of Labor weighed in on challenges that the Amalgamated Transit Union was making against various transit agency grants nationwide, but primarily in California, saying that California's Public Employees Pension Reform Act of 2013 violated their rights under something known as 6C, which is Federal Protection for Transit Workers. So our grants are not at risk of being held up because FTA does provide a lot of formula grants to us through the Metropolitan Transportation Commission that we use for a whole variety of things that we do. Moving on, I will then jump to the awards for employees that have been here for a while. It's my esteemed honor to ask Jennifer Minucci to escort Vicki Ng to the front of the room. Yesterday, Vicki celebrated 30 years with the district. Wow. Vicki started with the district. She started with the district as an office specialist 30 years ago yesterday. She was promoted to audit supervisor in June of 1998, promoted to an accountant in November 2001, and promoted to her current position as the accounting manager on December 27, 2021. She's been the district employee of the month twice, once as a solo in November of 2006, and then in September of 2012, because she was part of the team that put together the festivities for the 75th anniversary of the bridge. At work, she's famous for wowing her colleagues with her culinary skills. She enjoys traveling with family and friends. And among other things, she volunteers at numerous nonprofit organizations in her community. She lives in the Richmond district with her family. And in her spare time, she enjoys listening to audiobooks and watching movies, but most importantly, caring for lost furry friends. Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone.
Her colleagues would have been surprised if she said it more. Thank you, Vicki. Then next, I'd like to ask Dave Rivera to escort Paint Labor Quan Lee to the front of the room. The Employee of the Month Committee has selected Quan Lee to be the Employee of the Month for April 2025. The crew that he works with is the folks that nominated him. The paint labor job, in my opinion, is probably the hardest job at the Bridge District. The paint laborers support the blasting and painting activities that occur on the bridge. Mr. Lee is an expert in the chemistry of paints. The paint laborers mix all the paints to make sure all the supplies and PPE is available for all the workers out there. And then among other things, on days that we're doing abrasive blasting out there, he personally will vacuum up 2 tons of blast grit. So we go through, I believe it's, 12 bags, and each bag weighs 2 tons each week. And there's 2 paint laborers in the crew, but he's vital to everything that occurs out there. His colleagues say he is above and beyond anyone else that they work with. He's a joy to work with, and like I said, it is one of the hardest jobs out there. As a parlor trick, when I give these VIPs that we try to wine and dine tours of the bridge, one of my favorite things is to walk by a can of 3-gallon primer. Say, hey, do you mind picking that up for me? A 3-gallon can of the zinc primer weighs about 90 pounds. And so in addition to mixing the paint, they move the paint around. And like I said, in the day we're blasting, he personally vacuums up about 2 tons of blast grit. So thank you for all that you do for the district, Lee. Mr. Lee.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Xavier's crew. They're the reason why I'm here today. I'd like to give special thanks to Fred for giving me the opportunity to show what I can do. So thank you.
Any questions from the directors on the general manager's report? Dennis, thank you. And let's move on to item number 6B, which is the attorney's report. I will turn it over to Kim Manolis for his report. Kim?
Thank you, President Cochran. My written report is for you. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. No closed session today.
Good.
You've done that.
Thank you, Kim. We'll move on to item 6C, which is a report from the district engineer. As a reminder, the engineer's report can be found in the board meeting packet, starting on page 51, and John Everly is here to present his report. John, please proceed.
Thank you, President Cochran, members of the board. My written report is before you. There are a few items I'd like to bring to your attention. First, I'm happy to report that the consultant has completed the underwater inspections of the San Francisco and Marin Tower foundations. They're compiling their information and reporting on their findings, and I'll bring those findings to you at a future meeting. The contractor on the Vista Point Trail project has completed all of their rough grading work, and they have started installation of soldier piles for the retaining walls on that trail. So that project's progressing well. At the San Francisco Ferry Terminal project, the east berth was removed and transported to an off-site dry dock facility where they are sandblasting the facility, after which time they'll do a thorough inspection to determine if there's any additional cracks that were not found in the original inspection, and then they'll perform the rehabilitation and crack repair work. And then with regards to the electrical system on the bridge, the contractor has put in order to procure all the material for the interim project that's underway, and our consultant designer is completing the drawings for the installation, work plan for the installation of that work. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or may have.
All right, any questions of John? If not, John, thank you. Yep. Continuing on with item 8A on the agenda, which is Rules, Policy, and Industrial Relations Committee meeting. Chairman Hernandez, please begin your committee report to the board.
About that? You know what I have? I have it. I was going to let you guess it. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had a lovely meeting yesterday. Yes. Oh, you're looking at me, and I'm like, because you have the. Thank you for your patience. So I will read out the formal report of the committee meeting yesterday. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Rules, Policy, and Industrial Relations Committee recommends approval of item 8A1 to authorize the setting of a public hearing on Friday, May 23, 2025, at 11 a.m. or immediately after the regularly scheduled May board meeting in the Boardroom Administration Building, Golden Gate Bridge Toll Plaza, San Francisco, California, relative to a new law, Assembly Bill 2561. The subject of the public hearing is the status of job vacancies in the Bridge District, and at the hearing, the board will receive a staff presentation about Bridge District vacancies, as well as presentations by bargaining units and public comment. Public hearing must occur before the board adopts the annual budget in late June of 2025, as detailed in the staff report, and I so move.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded. Before I ask for the vote, are there any questions related to this item? Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Let the record show there is no opposition. Thank you. Now, Chairman Hernandez, have you any further report?
Mr. President, that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
That's one quick question. How many openings do we have?
We'll have a report that'll be attached to the staff report before the public hearing. We'll send information out in advance. The law has special call out for if you have more than 20% vacancies in any bargaining unit. And we have way more than that. We have about a 40% vacancies in our bus operators classification, and that's by design. After the onset of the pandemic, we drastically reduced service and we reduced staff through attrition, and we are hiring small classes. We have not deleted those positions because we're cautiously optimistic that someday ridership may return. But so we have a lot of vacancies in that classification. That's the only one over the 20% threshold, but we'll present information by bargaining unit on all 28 units here at the Bridge District.
Thank you.
Okay. There's no addresses to the board under agenda item number 9. Moving on to special order of business. Agenda item number 10A is to authorize a resolution of appreciation to our outgoing director, Matt Dorsey. Colleagues, are there any comments before I ask for a motion? None. I have a motion. Oh, Barbara. Excuse me.
I don't think Matt's here.
No.
But I just need to say that, I sit on lots of committees because I've been here a long time. And Matt shows up for everything. He's one of the San Francisco appointees that you could count on to be at the meetings. And I think we appreciate that. We know that you're busy and it's hard, but just let the record show that we appreciated that.
Thank you, Barbara. Do I have a motion then to approve the item?
So moved.
As moved, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Let the record show there is no opposition. The motion passes. Thank you. We have no unfinished business under item 11. And although we don't have anything listed under item number 12, new business, I'd like to share our trip to Washington, D.C. And I think Bo Wheeler gave us a great presentation today of what we did in Sacramento Wednesday. But I'll give a little report and then I'll turn it over to Chris. Our trip was Chris Snyder, our general manager, Dennis, our secretary, Amaret, and myself. And of course, Chris and I were the two members that went to Washington March 23rd through 26th. We met with staff from both California senators, Padilla and Schiff. We met with our Congressman Huffman, Thompson, DeSantis, Speaker Emeritus Pelosi, who was wearing, by the way, her typical international orange outfit just for us. And then we met with the staff of several members, Mullen and Garamendi's. We met with Derek Seaton from Federal Highway Administration and Vanessa Williams from Federal Transit Administration. We stopped by the International Union of Operating Engineers and met with Jeff Saw, the Director of Legislation, and we appreciated their support for our waivers that we received on part of our bridge construction. So, Chris, do you have something else you'd like?
You got it all summed up, but behind the scenes stories. No, again, just like our lobby day in Sacramento, those relationships that we have on this board are so key in Sacramento and in DC. And I really appreciate our guy there in DC. It was funny talking to some of the staffers from all these congressional folks, because most of ours are Democrats. Our guys in labor knew more about what was happening in a lot of these committees than it's such a strange time. So it was kind of neat talking to him. But the really cool thing is, we again, that $400 million, it was, they froze it under executive order, and we went back. It's unfrozen, as is our ferry grants. But even in the Trump administration, when you walk in the DOT and you tell them you're with the Golden Gate Bridge, they're all like, everybody lights up, from the people doing the security, people signing us in, giving those little pins out, at walking up into the building itself of the DOT and into the office where we talked about all the bridge issues. The bridge that they have displayed there is a small model of the Golden Gate Bridge. So even the bridge administration. So I mean, sometimes it feels like we're representing the Statue of Liberty or American Pie. So everybody loves the bridge, and even the president mentioned it in his last State of the Union, not State of the Union speech. So we are lucky that we were represented. It really is a piece of American pride, no matter which political stripe you are. And that's always really a neat trip. And we were very successful, and we got a lot of doors open, and people really listened. And again, going back to my comments in the committee, our goal is to keep this bridge, safe for the public. And this retrofit project is probably our biggest, besides some of the ATU pension stuff, is, as far as what our real goal is, our biggest issue. And so getting that $400 million done, getting the $200 million from the DOT, and working on this waiver with the painters union is really crucial to moving forward for that project. And I know we're going to have a presentation in a couple of weeks from our bridge manager to talk more in detail where we all can help. And again, everybody on this board has relationships, and we all need each other. And it's really kind of neat when our all the things that we do kind of overlap, and that showed in DC as well. So thank you, Jerry. It was a fun trip, and I found a new cribbage partner.
You'll learn. When we start playing for money.
Oh, he schooled me. So I've been playing cribbage a long time, and I was like, I pulled out the board, and Jerry's got a twinkle in his eyes, like, oh.
One thing that they didn't mention, I don't know if I embarrassed myself or not, but we got onto an elevator with a major
see that was the stories I wasn't going to tell.
I'm surprised you didn't tell it. And I'm looking at his ribbons, and he has a whole chest.
This guy's a four-star general.
And I'm looking at him. I said, "Where's your Vietnam War medal?" And he looked at me and says, "I'm not that old." Well, anyway, so I was.
That's pretty funny. So the rest of the time, like, Jerry, quit harassing the generals in the hallway.
Oh, well, I worked for generals before, and it never bothered me. So it was another person. Anyway, all right. Any questions of Chris or I, or in our Washington trip or Sacramento trip? Now, Sacramento, my gosh, I'm waiting to find some kind of easy transportation from our K Street lobbyist over to the new building. My God, it's a mile, I think. Yeah. That you have to walk. And thank gosh it wasn't hot. If it's hot, then it's a whole different story. So remember, we need to go in March and April. All right. If there are no questions, let's move on. Let's see where with the unfinished business. Okay. Here we are. Are there questions from there's none. So thank you. Continue on to item number 13 is communication, and the reminder, please contact director or the district secretary for copies of any communication if you're interested in seeing them. Okay. We're now reached the end of our agenda, and there are no further items to be presented to the board. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? May I have a second? Seconded. Before we adjourn this meeting, we'd like to take the opportunity to recognize and reflect on the passing of former board member, Director Emeritus Stephen Leondikis. Yes. Many of you may not be familiar with Steve and his legacy with the district, but he served on the board from 1962 through 2000, almost 40 years. Wow. When he joined the district, the biggest issue was controlling traffic on the bridge. Ideas such as building a second deck to include BART trains, more bridges, including one from San Francisco to Tiburon, or even building a tube from Embarcadero to Sausalito. Also happened at the same time was a push to abolish the district and turn over operations to the state. Steve encouraged the exploration of a ferry boat system as a water bridge, alternative to the building of any second crossing, helped push through legislation for an amended Bridge Act that allowed the district to expand our mission to operate transit. Steve was also a champion for transit, and he will forever be remembered by the district. Thank you. For now, adjourn this meeting for a moment in silence in honor of Steve, as well as the memory of His Highness the late Pope Francis. So this This concludes our meeting of board of directors on this day. Send.